Hi there, welcome back to Built Not Bought by Bruce. Or if it's your first time, welcome to Built Not Bought by Bruce. Working on the Sportster here, I thought I would update you. I know I talked a lot about the trial assembly and how I wanted to have the bike complete and get everything on it. And you're probably, if you've watched any of the recent videos, you're probably thinking, well, Bruce, you don't have all of the bike together because there's no top end on the motor. And you would be absolutely correct. So here's what happened, and I apologize, but it's not that big a deal to cover what we did, but let me explain. So Hammer Performance, which is who I chose to go with for my big bore kit. Hammer Performance had a deal on here, I think it was in August, but anyway. They had a sale on their stuff, and I thought, well, you know what? It's earlier than I wanted to do it, but it's got to be done at some point here. So I figured I'd pull the pin, get her done, pulled the trigger and said, okay, guys, I want, I told them what I wanted. And they said, well, that's great, but you should really send us your heads so that we can match your heads to your new cylinders. So here's what I did. Alfred and and I'm going to show you some cool footage here. Alfred and I very quickly put the top end back together, put the externals of the engine back together to check our clearances, to make sure that everything, that we had all the tabs and all the hardware, and we made sure that everything still lined up and bolted up, the motor mounts, all that stuff. As well, I wanted to make sure that my top engine mount here was going to work the way I thought. It will. That works fine. The other big thing, if you remember back, I couldn't get the rocker cover off of the rear cylinder on this bike with the engine in the frame because it would hit underneath the backbone here. Not exactly sure why that is. I think it has to do with the hardtail because this is part of the hardtail. The weld is right in here somewhere where they welded it in. Whether it's difference in tubing size, whatever did it, you couldn't get that rocker cover off. And I know they're tricky, and I know that Todd at Lowbrow says, oh, you got to hold your tongue right and turn it this way. No, it was not coming out of there. So what I did when I cleaned up the frame and when I welded up the hardtail a little bit nicer than what it had been done, I ground out a flat spot on the backbone here to allow clearance for that rocker cover. And it was really critical that I know that's going to work before I sent my heads away and stuff, because I'll probably have the frame painted, at least I'll be into the frame molding by the time all the engine parts come back. So we threw it together real quick, got a look at it, assembled it, checked it out. Absolutely, my idea worked. Lots of clearance now for the rocker cover. We've changed the mount for the Speedo so the push rod can come out. That was another issue. But all of that lines up, everything works, no problem. So what I've done for the engine is this. I decided to go with a Hammer Performance 1275 kit. Really cool what they're doing with that. And I believe that they have the answer for the cylinders and that they're going to live just fine, that new cylinder material they have. So that's good. Sent them my heads. They're going to port the heads, do a valve job, change springs, all that stuff. And they're going to match the heads to the cylinders, which they tell me, you know, there's horsepower there, or certainly longevity, efficiency. And I believe these guys, they appear to really know what they're talking about. Aaron down there is a great guy. But anyway, so they have the heads now. They're doing the work on them. I decided to go with their intake manifold. I'm going to polish it up because a lot of that will be exposed. Decided to go with a Mikuni carburetor that they recommend. We've got the Dynatech ignition because I had to size up the coil and everything, so I got that early. We got some Andrews N4 cams going in it. We got new lifters. I don't know what hammer's going to do for push rods, if I'm going to have to change those or just stock length. Probably just stock length with hydraulic lifters. What else is going on? I cleaned up this cover, but that doesn't really have to do much with the engine. Changing the push rod base, or the push rod cover bases here. Going with the one piece from Hammer. They're pretty cool. Talked to Aaron about going with collapsible push rod tubes or covers. And here's the problem. I went to Harley-Davidson to get new ones because mine weren't in great shape. And they're discontinued and obsolete. And I thought, oh, son of a gun. And when I tried to order collapsible ones from Aaron, he said, why do you want these? And I said, well, I need new push rod covers. And he said, well, you really only ever need the collapsible tubes if you're going to run adjustable push rods because you're running solid lifters. And he said, that's not what you're doing. He said, those collapsible push rod tubes, you know, they're more prone to leaking. They're not a great answer for a street bike, especially if you're never having to adjust the push rods. So he said you'd be way better off with stock ones. I called Calgary Harley-Davidson, talked to Alan over there, and you know, he confirmed that yes, they're obsolete. They didn't have any there. But he took a look, and sure enough, he found 4 brand new ones on the shelf in Rimouski, Quebec. So I called Harley-Davidson of Rimouski the next day, talked to Frank down there, awesome guy, just great. And Viva la Quebec, I got 4 new push rod covers. They're just awesome, and you know what, I might even have to cheer for the Habs when the Leafs aren't playing or something like that. Anyway, so we got 4 brand new push rod covers. Really happy about that because they're the last 4 in Canada. And they're going to look really good on here. So that's cool. We're going to go with a new clutch. I ordered a new stator, I believe it is, for the alternator. Hammer again has a nice setup there. Primary chain adjuster, heavy duty one from Hammer. And I think there's a couple other small things that I ordered that Aaron recommended. But this should be a really stout, really healthy engine. And that's really what I'm going for. I just want to do this once. I love the bike, but I just want to do it once. I want this thing to live for a long, long time. So you know what? I'm putting parts in it more as a maintenance thing and a longevity thing than whether it really needs them or not at this point. Because I don't want to take it apart in 2 years or something like that. Someday I'm going to leave this one in my will to somebody, and I want it to be working right for a long time. That's what we did with the engine. I'm going to show you the time-lapse footage, and that gets you up to date, and I'm going to get back on the wiring. Thanks for watching. Appreciate it. And if you like this, you know how to hit the like button. Subscribing would be cool too. Thanks. We'll see you again soon.